Welcome to the Board of Education of Queen Anne's County work session for Wednesday, May 18th. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for attending this evening. Dr. Salins could not attend this work session. She has appointed Amy Hudock as Secretary of the Board for this meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, I call for the vote on the motion to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is approved. Has everyone had a chance to read the closed session minutes for Wednesday, May 4th?
Yes.
Any questions or comments? Do I have a motion to accept the closed session minutes?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, I call for the vote on the motion to accept Wednesday, May 4th closed session minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Open session minutes, everyone's had a chance to read those?
Yes.
Any questions on them? Do I have a motion to accept the open session minutes for May 4th?
So moved.
Have a second? Thank you.
Second.
Questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, I call for the vote on the motion to accept open session minutes for Wednesday, May 4th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Good evening, Mr. Page. You're up. We have Agricultural Day presentation. And a bevy of ladies with you to present. God bless.
Yes.
Where do you want to go?
Yep.
Oh, why don't you come
No,
in?
you're good. You're good.
You sure? Yeah.
It's good to see you all this evening. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yes. Good afternoon, Vice President Harper, Ms. Sudak, board members, executive team. For the record, my name is Michael Page. I'm the supervisor of instruction, and today we are presenting a presentation on our Agriculture Awareness Day. And I'll let the ladies introduce themselves. This is our part of our committee for the Ag Awareness Day, and I've had the pleasure of working with them for several years, and I'm excited to be in front of you presenting this and showcasing what we were able to do.
So good evening. My name is Jenny Rhodes. I work for the University of Maryland Extension. I'm a county agriculture agent here. Also let you know that I grew up in the school system. My children went here, my grandchildren went here and went to this school. So I have a huge attachment, and I thank you all for what you do.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Clark. I am with Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit. I am a crop insurance specialist, but I actually do, fun fact, have a degree, not a degree and certification in teaching high school, but decided not to do it. But I also, yes, am a strong volunteer in 4-H in this county as well, so familiar with a lot of the families in this area.
I'm Lee Bridgman. I'm a program assistant at University of Maryland Extension in Queen Anne's County with Jenny, and I work with the agriculture and the horticulture programs there.
Thank you. Welcome.
Oh, and we have one member that's down here, Janelle Eck McHenry. She works for Thompson Consulting. She does a lot of work with grain producers and lots of other organizations. But she has a little one, so she couldn't be here. But I'm sure she's probably watching us.
And a Queen Anne's grad, too.
Yeah, that's right.
She was a student, because I remember her as a student.
And so was Lee.
All right, very good. So the purpose is to provide the Queen Anne's County Board of Education with an overview of the 2022 Agriculture Awareness Day experience that welcomed all 7th grade students throughout the county. A little bit of background, because this is coming back from our kind of a COVID break, I would say. We weren't able to do this for 2 years, and just wanted to give you guys a little bit of background. I've worked with these fine ladies for several years, fine-tuning this program, and we were able to align this to our science standards and our environmental literacy standards. So all the stations that the students attend, they're actually receiving this grade level standards for their curriculums. They're also we really focus on a lot of the content that they learn in their classrooms. So we've worked hand in hand trying to make sure that the experiences that they're having really meet what they're actually learning in the classroom. And when they come to the 4-H park, they're really continuing their education as they're experiencing those different things. The educational stations throughout the day provide insight in numerous agricultural topics and allow the students the hands-on experience. And one thing we really wanted to focus on also was that we highlight some of the careers and some of the opportunities that these students may have in terms of technology, in terms of breeding, in terms of harvesting, and so on. So we'll go through all those different various stations and highlight all the different things that we do there. But it is just an amazing day that does take a good amount of planning, and it really has grown over the 5-6 years that we've been together doing this.
And I'll say, when we first thought about this and trying to figure out what grade we wanted to really kind of hone in on, we decided 7th grade because we feel like they're getting ready for high school, they're thinking about careers, and if we can kind of help them to maybe find a career that they didn't even know, linked back to agriculture, because everybody thinks agriculture is about just being a farmer, and it's far from that. And one of the other reasons, besides Mr. Page and partnering with us, was I was able to hire Janelle when she was in college as an intern. So this is the power of intern, something that I didn't have the staff to do. I didn't, you have ideas, but so the powers of interns that came in, and she put this all together and brought the ag community together, and we kind of moved forward from there.
Jessica?
Sure, so I will take on explaining what each of our stations were at the Agriculture Awareness Day this year. This was kind of my thing, kind of structuring what we did with the stations and what kind of people we pulled in to put at each station. But we had a aquaculture station where they were learning about the importance of oysters and how they clean our bay, and how that's very important to the agriculture industry. They had some live oysters there, and the kids could see them in a tank, kind of, learn about the breeding, genetics, and all of that kind of stuff that goes along with aquaculture and oysters as well. Seed to Harvest. That station was very popular this year. We had a combine at that station, and the purpose of that station was to show the kids kind of what they're seeing when they drive down the road in the fields. They're seeing that equipment all over the county all the time. They're seeing those crops in the field. So we wanted them to relate that to what they see and see what those crops produce. So they're seeing the corn, the soybeans. So then they were also learning at that station, okay, where does that corn and soybean go when it leaves that field? And how are we using that every day? And then they also got to see the combine, which was a huge hit. We had someone there explaining how the corn goes up in that machine as an ear of corn and comes out as just the shell of corn. And they got to see how before the equipment, they had to shell corn, which they all really liked that. We had the old and the new, so that was good. Very popular station there. And then we moved them to Harvest to Table, which they were seeing, basically, okay, you're harvesting vegetables and produce. We kind of concentrated on that area there, and they learned safe ways to clean your food when you get it home from the store, the market, wherever you're purchasing it, as well as food safety. They had a cool germ activity with a blue light to see, how germs spread and stuff like that, why it's important to wash your food when you get it home, as well as they learned the different produce when it's actually in season. And we tried to get them to understand, yes, you can buy strawberries in the store anytime during the year, but they're going to taste best this time of year because in Maryland, they're in season right now. So just kind of stuff like that, we wanted them to learn there. And then, of course, the other popular station is the farm animal station.
The most popular.
Yeah, probably the most popular when you look at our surveys. But that's because, of course, they get to see live animals, and all the people that take care of them. We've got beef cattle, dairy cattle, horses, baby pigs, baby goats, lambs. They got to see a shearing demonstration on the lambs and learn, how their wool is used for clothing, as well as we had a lesson to correspond with that where they learned about, why animals were domesticated way back then, how we use them for a large protein source now, learning about genetics as well and how breeders use genetics and tying that into how they care for their animals and all of that. So those were the 4 main stations. Each of them were an hour long, but we broke that up pretty much in each station, so they weren't in the same spot for an hour. We kind of either had them do a lesson first and then something interactive, or we had small substations within those big stations. So we kind of made sure that we kept their attention and just didn't have them sitting somewhere for an hour. And then we also had a cool drones and technology demonstration right as they unloaded the buses before they headed anywhere. And that was just a drone demonstration flying above the 4-H park. And then they described how that type of technology is heavily used now in agriculture to look for disease, wildlife damage on crops. It's way easier for that drone to go up in the air and catch all that than a farmer to try to see that from the road. So we just wanted to show that to them, and that's pretty much a gist of what they got.
And we've changed the station over the years. We've
made some alterations, but I would say, I think, in my opinion, this year we really nailed it down on what is most useful to them, I would say.
Have you all been a part of it since you've been partnering with Michael?
Yes, all of us, yep.
That's nice. So same people have been doing it. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
So community involvement, we couldn't do this with just the 4 of us, 5 of us. So we have pulled in a lot of different people. This is a picture taken the first day. So there are 4-Hers, students from 10 years old, I'll say up. The FFA, the high school kids come out and help. I mean, it is just an array of, and I'm going to talk a little bit about. So, of course, the superintendent was there. She couldn't be here tonight, but Ms. Hudak, you were there. And I think maybe one of the board members, was somebody? Who was there?
Mr. Kibler.
You were there, yeah, so thank you for coming. We had the assistant dean of the College of Agriculture from College Park. That's part of Lee and I, our boss. The Secretary of Agriculture was there, Joe Bartenfelder. Some of the county commissioners. We had the Executive Director of Maryland Farm Bureau, and he was just blown away. He had not been, even though Farm Bureau is one of our main sponsors, because we have to have someone to filter, money through, and everybody kind of belongs to Farm Bureau. And he just couldn't believe. So he's asked us to put this up for a state award. And I have to thank John Murdoch, and thank you for the, Sid, for the county buses, and because that is really one of the hardest things. We can put all this stuff together, but the coordination, Janelle does all the coordination of getting the buses there, and that is pretty much, I won't say a nightmare, but it's pretty tough. Yes, so thank you very much for that, because without that, and we will, let's go on to the next page, and then I'll talk a little bit. And of course, we couldn't do this without sponsorship. This cost a right good, probably $12,000 it costs us to put this on. And with University of Maryland Extension, Farm Bureau, like I said, grain producers, Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit, Soil Conservation, the FFA, county commissioners, of course, the Board of Education, Maryland Soybean Board. Jack Wilson has been instrumental in getting us money from the Upper Shore Regional Council that has really helped us a lot. This year also, we will be receiving it's the America's Farmers Grow Communities. comes out of the Bear Fund. We had a local farmer that applied for this grant for $5,000, and he is going to give that money to Farm Bureau for ag awareness, he and his wife. So that's Linda and Jimmy Hall. They've given it to other, fire companies, but that will come to us, so. We have 4-H clubs that participate. I said students, Purdue, you can see, Growmark, which is a local seed company, Caldwell Bankers. So it's not only just the ag industry, there's other people, or ag, I'll say,
Community.
ag community, people in our business community also. Let's see, who else have I not talked about? Tri-Gas and Oil, Waterman's Realty, Tidewater Seeds, Stony Knoll Farms. We have some 4-H clubs that give us money, Nago Farm Service, Mount Air, Atlantic Tractor, Gorman Spraying, Godfrey's, and, well, I said Linda and Jimmy Hall. So you can see there, this is money that is coming in. Not to say the volunteer hours that, everyone else puts in. So we couldn't do this without our ag community.
It's amazing, how many people come out to support this event. It's incredible, and it's really awesome.
I attended one of the Farm Bureau breakfasts pre-COVID, and it was packed. There must have been 100, 150 people in that room, and it was so good to see the sponsorships then, too.
Yeah, we have a really good ag community. They really do step up and help us when we need money for things.
And Brian Stokes was there, but you mentioned FFA.
Yeah.
Was he there in the capacity of FFA, and he had
Yes.
students from the high school?
Yes, both days.
Yeah, so that's nice. He's our CTE teacher. He teaches ag at the high school, so,
Yeah, he's an integral part of all this.
Yeah. and he's one of those, if you grab them, then he can kind of take that and run with it, too. Yeah.
Also, we had Connie Dean come out one day because she's working on doing the internships and apprenticeships. We'd really like to get ag in the mix, so she was really inspired by what she saw. So I think that's good.
That's good.
Sure. This year, this is the second year we've done this, but we decided to do a Agriculture Awareness Day essay contest, and that's really a lot for those of us here that put it all together. We kind of want to see exactly how we're impacting those kids that day. So we give them a little bit of an incentive to do this. We did select a first place winner from each school this year. They will receive a set of Apple AirPods, as well as a ice cream and snow cone coupon for the fair this year. And then second place and third place will get $50 and then $25 and coupons as well. We had a lot of entries. I want to say we had close to 60 essays and a few PowerPoints that we went through 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We read through all of them, selected our winners, and it was just really cool for us to see, kind of really what they pulled from the day and what was their most exciting part. The combine and the animals, I think, were touched in almost every essay. So we know that they were a hit for sure, but we enjoy reading those, and we kind of feel like it's a good way for them to reflect on the day and kind of see what they got out of it.
Nice writing assignment.
And they had options, too.
Yes, we
Very nice.
we gave them options to do a video, a PowerPoint, write an essay, whatever, however they wanted to express themselves, and answer that question, how does agriculture affect your life every day? Because that was the main point we were trying to get across. So.
And it's really great to see how it has changed them. So they do recognize the impact that agriculture has on them, their families, the community, and it's really nice to see them. You can read their excitement about it. You can read their how they have their mindset has changed in terms of what I see when I drive down the road in Queen Anne's County. When I see those farms, what actually goes into that. So it's really nice to see that and get that from those 7th graders.
And you'll see them June, when will we be here?
June, the June meeting, we will be recognizing them, so.
Nice.
We'll.
Students.
And I
Yeah.
think our,
Students, yes.
yeah, I think our essay winner we picked will really capture exactly what, it was a good.
Share with you.
Yep.
So we got some successes to share.
Sure, sure.
We wanted to make sure you guys saw those.
So the University of Maryland Extension is a science and research-based statewide education system. So one of the big things we like to do, which is to measure the impact of our programming. So we did a pre and a post test for, or we'll call it a survey, for the students to see if they learned anything while they were out there. And we had a lot of questions that related specifically to the stations, but the two questions that we're going to look at the results for were more general, and we feel like they really capture what we feel were successes for the day. So this first one, what is your level of knowledge of agriculture farming in Maryland before the Agriculture Awareness Day? And took the two top answers, which were they felt they had more than average or a great deal of knowledge, and it increased from 13.4 to 35.3% of the respondents. So we felt that that was really good. And the second question, does agriculture affect your life every day? About half of them thought it did before, but it went up to 80%, almost 80% after. So we thought those responses were really encouraging, so.
And then Lee, you want to talk about, you asked them to, we asked them they can write in something too.
Yeah, so the first day was pretty cold. We got a lot of, we were really cold responses, but they really.
It was a chilly day.
Yeah, it was pretty cold. I had my gloves on.
They really enjoyed the animals, and they really enjoyed the equipment. So, going forward, we always like to take these comments, and we did get some comments say we're always working to be more interactive, and so that's a challenge, and so every year we try to help make that happen. So, yeah, always they want more animals is what they say. I think if the whole day was just 4 barns of animals,
They would probably be happy.
Yeah, so.
Well, then they need to go to the fair.
That's right.
There you go.
So, in conclusion, I just want to thank you all for all the hard work you've done.
Well, thank you, Michael.
It's a wonderful day for all the 7th graders, and it wouldn't be possible without you all. So I want to publicly thank you guys. But if anybody is interested, we do have a Agriculture Awareness Day video. I believe Mr. Straight was able to put that together, so thank you for that. It highlights some of the things that we were able to do that day, so go ahead and view that at your leisure. And the committee was excited to host the students again. We were really excited to get back up and running. It was. I know that a couple groups of 7th grade students were upset that they weren't able to attend, and it's just the way that things are. But they were excited to get back after it. Thank you to the 7th grade teachers. They really did a good job. The principals getting everything organized. So they were excited to get back out there and have those experiences with their students. I heard one student say that was the first time they had been back out and on a field trip. So that was good to hear too, that we're getting back to it and we're moving forward. And the committee will continue to evaluate, as we talked about, look at our surveys, our successes, things we need to improve on, and we look forward to next year. It's a great opportunity, and I think it's becoming well known around the state that we do an awesome job, and other counties are looking to model off of us, and it's just another way to give our students that hands-on education that we look so forward to. So I don't know if you want to say anything final, or
If you all have
if you guys have any.
Really impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all that.
And I'm sorry that I missed it, but I was really lucky enough when I was on the Economic Development Commission to take the ag tour when Miss Lee and Miss Jenny took us around. We were able to go see the dairy farm, and we were watching the tomatoes and saw the family on the back of the can who, because they highlighted the family farms that they were using. And it was amazing. I mean, the before and after would probably be very similar to me. I realized, though, ag does play a big role, but it was crazy how much that tour changed me, although I could have done without the chicken farm because that's a massive amount of chickens and the smell. But that's okay. But what really talking about, I'm so glad Connie Dean was there because I think it's going to be great for the options for careers, because I remember, Miss Jenny, you were talking about, she had gotten a complaint from a new Queen Anne's County resident who had just moved in, and they had moved in next to a chicken farm. Not too close, but apparently too close for their sensitive smeller. And they made a comment and a complaint about the smell. And Miss Jenny said, well, the first thing I wanted to say was, to me, that smells like money.
Just said that, yes, she did.
Money coming in and money going out.
Stuck to me always. So I hope that they realize what a great opportunity because we need our farmers. And if we can stop developing our land and keep it farm, that would be amazing.
Anyone else? Ms. Shannon? No? Good.
Question?
No? Thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
God bless you guys. Thanks for
Thank you, ladies.
keeping it up. Mr. Page, you're still on deck.
Still
And Ms. Pullen. Good evening.
Okay, top 3 buttons. I'm not sure I see it.
There you go.
The print iPad.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, thank you. All right. All right, so I'll introduce myself again. I'm Mr. Page. I am a supervisor of instruction, and we are here, Ms. Poulin and I are here to kind of give you all an update of our Gears 2 Initiative 3 outdoor exploration. We have talked about this before. It's the outdoor classrooms coming from our Gears grant. And we just wanted to give you guys a quick update in terms of what that looks like and where we are in our progress of getting those done. So the purpose is to provide you all, the Board of Education, with an update on the progress of the Gears 2 Initiative 3 outdoor exploration timeline and construction. So just to recap, just so we're all on the same page here, this was federal funding that was provided by the governor. It's the governor's emergency relief funds, and in April we received those funds. Those funds are both for these outdoor classrooms, but it's also for some GT initiatives and summer school initiatives that we're working on. So a portion of the money is also allocated to other items, but we're here just to speak in terms of the outdoor classrooms. And just an FYI for you all, just so you know that the grant does end in September of 2023. So we're about a year in, and we are working towards getting a lot of the materials ready for bid. Here's the timeline. The timeline has shifted a little bit, so those last dates have moved a little bit based upon some of the items that we've had to adjust on. So just so you know, we came to you all in December, just to recap, and we brought on Becker Morgan Inc. to kind of go through the whole building
Construction documents,
bid documents. So they've been outstanding. We did visits to all the schools, all the sites. We located where we were going to put those new outdoor classrooms. We also looked into where those utilities would go. April 14th, we finalized 2 prototypes, which we're going to talk about today, and bring that to you all to kind of view and get some of your input in terms of that. And then we are looking to finalize the construction bid materials, I would say, next week. So this stuff has been, like I said, has been pushed back a little bit. We look to release the bid documents, I believe, into June, and then the actual board approval for a qualified contractor wouldn't come until probably close to August.
We're hoping for the August
We're hoping
meeting.
for the August meeting. And so we're going to prepare all those materials, hopefully get some good bids in there and then bring them towards, for your approval at that time. So some of that has been adjusted. And there is a little note there, construction will vary depending on the availability of work and materials. So here are the two prototypes, and if you want to jump in, you can help me out here. But these are, the one is labeled the glue lamb pavilion structure. That is a similar structure that you would see at our parks. The structure would come with a slab of concrete, and then it would kind of have those posts, and we're hoping to possibly get electric run out there, and then it would have obviously the roof. The one on the right is a shade structure. There are some sites that we have in our county at our schools that it was very difficult to bring in and put in a slab of concrete and bring in these large materials. So we opted to potentially have the shade pavilion structures as an option around that. We're not, like I said, in some of those places we're not able to get into, so having that alternative shade pavilion structure was a good alternative to that.
Are they both permanent structures? Like, does the shade pavilion have to be taken down during certain weather conditions?
So if I'm saying it wrong, but the manufacturers do recommend that they are taken down at certain times. So high winds are one of those storms. Also, to preserve them, it may be good to take them down, within the winter time frames. So there is recommendations to have those taken down if necessary.
So is there some sort of maintenance contract that goes with it? Because when you're taking stuff down and putting it back up, there's the potential to damage it. So how do we make sure that they're gonna be taken care of during that time?
I think as we get into the final bid documents, we'll be able to give you a little more information on that. So right now, the only two places that we're considering the shade structures would be at the high schools. And the high schools indicated that the courtyard areas are probably the areas that would be utilized most regularly, especially in a post-pandemic environment, trying to get the students outside for lunchtime and for extracurricular activities, that would be the area that would be most beneficial. That gives us the problematic items of how do we get a concrete truck into the middle of Queen Anne's County High School. And so we looked at the alternative of the shade structure. We are just in the process of talking about how we're going to formulate these bid documents and how we'll write some alternates into those bids. What I believe we anticipate is that we're going to look at priorities of elementary schools first, middle schools, and then the high schools. So the two high schools would probably, if funding does not allow, we would probably be looking at something alternative down the line for those structures, and that information will be coming to you. It's still somewhat unknown. So there is a possibility that we would not be doing the pavilions at the high schools at this time, but we want to see how those bids come in.
What would be the dimensions of those shade pavilions?
About 20 by 30, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a little bit smaller than what we would be doing for the pavilion structures, just based on the size that we have in those courtyard areas.
Are we going to need county permits to put the slabs in?
There will be different permitting structures throughout the county. So in some, Church Hill will be required to go through Church Hill permitting. In Sudlersville, the town of Sudlersville,
Right.
and then the others,
Centerville.
Queen Anne's County. So that's part of what the contractor will be responsible for, is helping us to work through permitting in each of those areas.
And what we've been able to do is figure out how every school would work, right? So the plan, we have plans for every single school. So in the event we're not able to do some based upon funding, materials, whatever it may be, we still have that plan so that if it comes at a later date, we can pull those plans and continue on with what we were proposing.
Yes, so that we would be able to phase this project and ask for additional funding down the line if we're not able to do all of the structures within this grant.
Do we know if all the other schools besides the high schools, because we do the concrete, do we know if we have enough impervious land to still be able to be allowed to put in this size of a concrete?
Yes, so we have had Becker Morgan and their civil engineering department look at all of that as part of the scope.
The services for Becker Morgan has been paid for also by this grant? It hasn't come out of, okay, thank you.
So so our plan is to continue to update you all as we go forward. We want to make sure that we're being transparent with how this process is going. Our plan is to continue to do that and make sure that everybody knows what's going on. We're super excited. It has been, a really cool experience. One, to get the funding. Two, to kind of work through the process of figuring out where these are going and hear the excitement from the teachers and hear the excitement from the principals that they'll have another place that they can go out and they can instruct. Getting that fresh air outside and going and working outside and having that additional spot is really something there's a lot of buzz around the schools talking about these structures. So it's a really cool and exciting project that we're going towards. So.
And I'll give a kudos to Mr. Page because he's done a great job of keeping this on track as well as bringing the vision that he saw when he wrote this grant to fruition. So we're really following that plan, and I think everyone's going to be really excited.
Well done, Michael.
Thank you.
I applaud the effort to provide our schools with an additional educational setting, other than a traditional classroom.
Brick and mortar, get them out.
Yeah,
there.
getting them out. And God forbid we ever have COVID again, we can use it without worrying about that, right? Well, thank you all very much.
Yes.
Anyone else have any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Good night. Yes, and next item, current action items, an alteration to the FY21 and 23 CIP funding.
Yes, I'm back again. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time tonight. For the record, Carla Pullen, Facilities Planner for Queen Anne's County Public Schools. So over the recent past, and I would venture to say last 2 years, we've been talking to you about the difficulty in our construction bidding climate. Since the pandemic, construction costs are on the rise around the country, and at this point, unfortunately, don't seem to be going on the downward spiral yet. This is especially true for our roofing projects, but we're also seeing trouble with our glass, our wood, our steel, many of the items that we need to use for buildings. Unfortunately, the funding at the state level is not infinite, so I'm here tonight to ask your approval to modify our capital improvement plans, which is something that's necessary to do before May 31st. That's the state deadline. It's essentially an administrative action, and it's going to assure that the funds that were allotted to us through the CIP stay in the pot of money that goes to Queen Anne's County Public Schools. It will not revert then back to the state pool that would be available from any county to pull from. So it's an effort to preserve that funding for our projects. So the request for approval tonight does 3 things. The first is we're going to ask to rescind the state funding for the roof replacement project at Ken Island High School and the window and door replacement at Bayside Elementary School. This is going to give us almost $2.9 million to put back into our reserve account. And provided that the IAC allows us to do that and also approves this request, then that funding, that money will go toward the overages that we've seen in our bids for the Bayside Elementary School roofing project, the Ken Island Elementary School roofing project, and the Sudlersville Elementary School chiller project. So it's going to fund 3 different projects for us. The second and third part of this request kind of go together. We would also ask to rescind the state funding for Sudlersville Elementary School for the chiller replacement, and at the same school, the fire alarm replacement for fiscal year 21 CIP, which it is expiring at the end of May. And instead, we will ask the state to reallot this by amending our fiscal year 23 request. So we're going to put it into our current year's budget so that we can pull from it on July 1st. If you're in agreement with these requests, I anticipate that this action will allow us to get bids for Bayside Elementary School roof, Kent Island Elementary School roof, the Sudlersville Elementary School chiller, and the Sudlersville Elementary School fire alarm projects back to you. And if you approve of those bids, then we'll have them under contract by the end of July. So by rescinding these projects, we hopefully can do 4 of those that the funding has not been ample for.
So what happens to, how are we with the Kent Island High School? Like, can it
Yes.
sustain the roof that it has?
So what our plan is to reapply for funding with the extra amount in our either CIP funding for fiscal year '24, which we will submit in October, or through the Healthy School Fund, which is a large pot of money that has been allotted by the governor for air quality projects, but they are now prioritizing roofing. And therefore, the state has said, let's try for that and see if we can, out of one of the two, get the funding back for that. So it would not be put on hold for very long, but we would have the available funds. We have about $4 million of available funding for Kent Island's roof, and the bids just came in at over 8. So there just really is some difficulty there.
Which means it would be put off until next summer.
Correct.
And the roof isn't in good enough repair at the time, right now.
At this time, it is. We've been proactive about replacing specifically the shingles and any repairs that need to be done there. The hope is to go back and replace those areas with metal, because shingles right beside the bay have not been long withstanding. And that's the area that's probably most of a deficit. We do roofing inspections twice a year, so we're keeping tabs on any areas where there's possibly leaks. And again, it's just coming to the end of its useful life. We know we need to do the repair. Roofing, unfortunately, is the one that has just skyrocketed with all of our beds.
Any other questions? Comments? Good?
Good.
So instead of reading this entire purpose, I'm going to ask, do I have a motion to accept the alteration of the FY '21 and '23 CIP funding as presented by Mrs. Pullen?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, I call for the vote on the motion to, what I just said. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We now have future meetings and events. We have our board meeting on June 1st, 2022, also graduation day, and then our work session on June 15th of 2022. Does anyone have anything else for the cause? Fantastic. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Vote yay.
Hey,
Ayes have it. Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Jeff. Have a good evening.
well done.
It's Mr. Jeff's birthday today.
Yes, happy birthday,
Happy
Mr. Jeff.
birthday, Jeff.